Thanks for sliding into the booth at the Millennial Diner podcast. Hey, it's Phil. I came to the diner a little early today, not to bask in the quiet of the diner before Jeff shows up, but to remind you of all the things. Follow us on social media to get the latest updates and shenanigans, and check out our merch available on TeePublic and the Dashery. Just search Millennial Diner Podcast, you'll find all the things. Executive producer Megan has created for you to consume. Well, not eat, like buy. Don't eat a shirt. Do check out all the t-shirts, sweatshirts, and stickers if you're feeling generous. Now I see Jeff entering the diner, so let's get this show started. Enjoy.
Jeff and Phil, they take the stage. Two voices wise beyond their age. Spin final tales of old punk days. Rock and rebel in caffeinated haze. Millennial Diner serving.
Welcome to the Millennial Diner podcast. I'm Jeff. I'm here at the diner with Phil, as usual. Phil, say hi.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great, Phil. I got a full cup of coffee, which I brought from home for some reason.
I was going to say, did you get here before I did? Got a cup of coffee? That's very rude.
Yeah,
Very rude.
you know, that road coffee. And then, yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Get some food. We haven't been here in at least 12 hours, so.
At least. Road coffee is a thing. I remember back in Long Island. You remember me with road coffee? I always would get it.
Yeah,
Stopped
Phil,
off at.
wherever you showed up, you had a fresh cup of coffee with you.
I know I would because everywhere I would leave home and go to like one of the bajillion 7-Elevens nearby and go get a cup of coffee. Yeah,
Yeah, that was your thing.
that was my thing.
Now you have no thing.
That's very true. Now I don't have a thing. I barely leave this house. Are you kidding me? This is where I live.
All right,
Well,
well,
obviously, it's where I live. It's my house.
Well, yeah,
Let's
you
put
live
the
there.
order. Yeah, I know. Let's put the orders in.
All right. Hey, Flo, real quick. I'm going to just do a bagel today. You know, some vegan cream cheese on the side there. And some hash browns. And coffee with oat milk. Real simple.
It does seem like a light menu for you. That is. I'll have rye toast, I think, with 2 packets of butter and a black coffee. That sounds good.
That does sound good, Phil. And it reminds me when we were so young, so impressionable, our whole lives ahead of us out on Long Island. And, you know, we thought these magical bands that were starting to play around us, that was just how it was everywhere. But it wasn't. But we were at a place in time where there were some amazing bands, and the scene itself a really important part, a leg of the scene, I guess you could say it, holding up the whole.
Right.
A
Because there
but-
was like 3. Yeah, there was about 3 parts to this scene.
It was a buttress of the scene. Long
Yeah.
Island.
Oh, that's an important part. That supports a lot of the weight.
Yeah. One of those bands was brand new, and they stick out because their music started off as very much a pop punk emo band, and then with each album completely blew up and evolved their sound and involved how people could even look at emo music to begin with.
Completely changed their sound. Real progression through everything. Honestly, one of the few that showed an early maturity in songwriting.
Agreed. So, what we're going to do today, since we don't have a guest with us, we invited people. They couldn't make it. You know, no gas in the car, no tires on their wheels, no steering wheel to even steer. You know, we asked one person who doesn't have a car. That's what would happen.
Or seatbelts.
Wow, that's not no seatbelts on.
No seatbelts. No seatbelts on. Mm-mm.
We'll
No
get into
seatbelts.
that in a second. Nonetheless, we are going to compare our list from least favorite brand new album to favorite brand new album, and we're gonna see where we stack up against
Where
each-
we stack up, yeah. It's a new thing we're doing for the season. All right, folks at home, just making sure you all know that, on occasion, let's be honest, we just want to rank albums and just see how they compare with one another. In particular, we want to rank how Jeff ranks albums than how I rank albums. So let's sign out. Let's start off, Jeff. Now, there are only 5 official albums
Hmm.
by Brand New. But I got a feeling we're going to bring in a possible unofficial album that got dropped somewhere along the way.
Well,
Since there's only 6, do you want to play the game now?
yeah,
What
let's
do you
play the
think?
game now.
All right, what do you think is going to be? Which one of the two? Let's go with that. Do you think it's going to be my favorite album?
Which one?
Which one of two? You get, yeah, you guys say you can give two guesses. I guess
I
we can
give
do
two
that.
guesses, but there's only
Yeah.
five out.
So you know what? Then yeah, you're right. Let's. I mean, that's really only gonna give that'll give you like a 33% chance. So let's not do that. Let's do which album do you think I'm gonna have at the top of the heap?
I think you're gonna stun us all, and you're gonna say Daisy. Just kidding. I know you're not gonna say Daisy.
There's no way I'm
Uh,
putting Daisy at the top of this list.
um,
No, good. Yeah, good.
well, I'm gonna say
It's
Deja and Pandu.
Deja. You're gonna go with Deja. Okay. I'm actually. This is the problem with Brand New. Is these albums there's so many good ones, and it's a lot of these are. I'm gonna actually equate Brand New songs. It's a lot like To Catch Her in the Rye, where you hear them at certain points, and it kind of just sticks with you, But then as you get older, you look back at them, and you're like, oh, I got a different opinion on things. And sometimes Catcher, you might have a better opinion. So Jeff, for you, I'm actually gonna put Devil in the God of Rage inside of me is what I'm gonna bet.
Hmm.
We're gonna put you at number one. That's what I'm gonna go with. Jeff, what do you have at the bottom of the pile?
The bottom of the pile, number five, potentially asterisk unless there's more, is 2000's Your Favorite Weapon.
You put that all the way at the bottom, huh? Why is that?
Because this, while this is some perfect pop punk, some
100%.
some great, great scathing lyrics. You know, I think of Jude Law in A Semester Abroad. I hope the next boy that you kiss has something terribly contagious on your lips.
I mean, that
Or
is just
I mean, 70 times 7 is the ultimate emo pissed off at friends. I hope I hope there's ice on all the roads and think about me when you forget your seatbelt.
I
Um,
mean, just oof.
I mean, just yeah. I mean, but uh, perfect. But you're asking me why is it so far below?
Yeah,
Well, production value is not that great. Let's be
that's
honest.
fair. That's fair.
Kind of a
That's fair.
muddy sound the whole way through. But really, it's because in nowhere in this album do I see where this band is about to go. Man, that's not true. There's a couple songs, I would say. There's a couple songs that now I look back at it and I can see it. Um, but if you're looking at Your Favorite Weapon, I think, well, one, the shower scene opens up. I love that opening. What a great way to open. But I think it's a little bit the No Seatbelt song actually is a very slow, atmospheric song on this album, which doesn't fit with everything else, but I feel like is pointing in the direction of where they might go. Um, and then So Glamour in a Line, which closes it, the ultimate sing along. I want to stay 18 forever. I mean, it
Oh
just
yeah.
captures such a spirit. But yes, again, this is all amazing stuff, but this is not even the tip of the iceberg of what this band's gonna do.
No. At the bottom of the pile, I have Daisy.
What?
I have Daisy. I put Daisy at the bottom. As an album, I've just never connected with. Ironically, the lead single is at the bottom.
Mhm.
No, it's just not an album I ever connected with. Out of all the albums, I just can't. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it is my number four.
Which is funny then because my number four was your favorite album. See, we kind of went to the
Your
same
favorite weapon.
place.
Your favorite
Yeah,
weapon.
well, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I said album, not your favorite weapon. It's funny. Okay, so we kind of did that. Like, all right, kind of got the same vibe. Why do you have Daisy toward the bottom of the pile?
I only have it towards the bottom is because I
Everything else on
understand
top
it's a
is
little
just that
bit
much.
more. It's a
Yeah,
little bit. It's not. It's a departure
yeah,
in a band who does nothing but departures.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
I
It does.
like how
It does.
heavy it is, though. I think there is, you know, the devil and God are raging inside me, but now it's like I am raging inside me, is how I feel with Daisy.
I can
And
see. Okay, I can see that.
and I feel like what they start what they also do in this album is they do have these kind of like sound bites, like it sounds like a preacher or a pastor,
Hmm.
in actually Daisy the song. Um I just I love Vices. Like it opens up with that old recording of like
Right.
the woman singing, and then Vices is just the did you ever think Brand New is capable of writing a song as heavy as Vices?
No, it's funny you say that because it is such a heavy album, but I feel it is kind of one note. You know what I mean? And that's why I had it at the bottom. I feel like it's just basically, I don't know. Do you remember Weezer's third album, the
Yeah,
Green
the Green
Album?
album.
Yeah. You know how we always would say that it just feels like one big song? I feel like that's what it is with this one. It just feels like one big song.
Well, I challenge you to listen to it again and really listen to Noro, the last song on this album. It's
Okay.
one of my favorite Brand New songs, straight up. Noro, it's
Not even written,
haunting.
not even written by Lacey.
Yeah. Uh, who wrote that one?
That was what's his face? Yeah. See how great my detective skills are? I just use phrases like what's his face. That would have been Vincent Accardi's.
Oh, there you go. I think it feels like, yeah, there's these songs do feel like they're of a different songwriting style in general.
Yeah,
I'll say
I can see
this.
that.
Had there not been an album after this, I would probably have been disappointed if this was the last Brand New album.
I can totally get behind that. Well, because I feel like I will say this. I think Daisy is basically what they learned from it. They apply on their very last album
Yeah.
to great work.
But before we go any further, Phil, I'd like to just do a shout out to one album that's not on our
Sure.
list. But um, what happened with Brand New, I think around 2005,
6.
they were working very hard on their follow-up album to their breakout album, Deja Entendu. And this was early days of internet sending files back and forth, and somehow their demos got leaked.
Snatched up and leaked to the world.
And this was a new phenomenon for for bands to have their their demos leaked. Um, they eventually did do a leaked demos 2006, 2006, about 10 years afterwards,
2006.
back in 2016, where they finally officially released it. Um, it's really cool because you really see where they were headed in one direction, and
Right.
then which songs they ended up leaning into for the rest of the way on the next album that eventually did come out.
I I like so leaked demos is interesting. Because I do want to take a moment to talk about that because if I was gonna list out the 6 albums, I put this right here at number 4 spot. Because I feel that's just where it fits the most. I like the demo version of Luca. I
Hmm.
like the demo version of Sowing Season. Although it's funny, it's yeah, Sowing Season. I think on the album, it's the other way around. But um I you can again, this is like you said, Jeff, as a band that keeps positioning, like changing their sound a little bit, and this is a very transitory album. Although they did do release a piano piece with Fork and Knife,
Yep.
yeah, I like. It's not my favorite, but I like where this album was going or what it could have gone.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I think they were trying to figure. I think that's what you got. That's why I love when sometimes bands will release stuff like this because
Yeah,
you can kind of see in their process where they're going. Because when I hear 1996, that sounds like a very like Morrissey-esque
yeah,
kind of song, which is not the kind of song that ends up on the album that this was demoing for, which was Devil and God eventually. This was
right.
originally supposed to be Fight Your Demons, was what it was originally going to be called. So they are turning inward and really starting to get existential. You can feel that even more so. And then we're going to see how far that gets pushed in the next couple albums.
It's funny. I almost feel like they should have gone the EP route and just put out like a little 5, 6 EP, because as our alumni of the show and friend have pointed out, Brian Norby, pointed out that that is how bands will show the transition, where they're going to go, right? Is trying to put out just a couple little sampler, like, hey, this is what you guys get the feels for, see if it works.
2012, they did actually do three demos reworked EP where
Yep.
they took these demos and actually finished them. So I think on that one is Brother's Song, Missing You in 1996 actually made it on that EP. So eventually it did get the EP treatment.
It it did. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Uh,
I missed that. Thank you.
all right, so
All
now
right.
we are officially at number three.
Number three. This is where it's gonna get real fun, real quick, sir. All right.
So what do you have for number three?
I have your I have your guess. I have Deja and Tondo number three.
Wow. Okay.
I really do. I have Deja right there. This is here's what. What do you have for number three? And then we'll see how different we're gonna be in this.
Well, Phil, you've already heard my answer. It's Deja Entendu, which means already heard.
Already heard. There it
Also
is.
number three for me,
But
which,
now it's weird. This is okay. This is probably gonna be one of the hardest five albums to ever kind of sort because there's only five, so you really does you're like gonna be splitting hairs a lot of the time.
uh-huh.
When I first heard this, if you had asked me when this album first came out, what's the best brand new album? At that point, it only would have been two, so it would have been fine. I would have
Yeah,
said
it was,
this one,
yeah.
right? But this is such a marked moment, I think, in the world of emo music, and like where you saw the shift, I guess, away from like a pop punky sound to it to like a music. Like this is a musicality of this album is ridiculous. The opening, just the opening instrumental part, and it goes into it just leads into the bass and the bump 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 bump, like so different, so different. And then going further down the line into I will play my game beneath the spit. Like the titles just got really very emo-y. The quiet okay, I believe you by Tommy Gun don't gets into an amazing punk rock, but like emo song of the quiet things no one never knows. The singing is different. Like it is it's a moment where like this is a band, like a band. These are musicians who are trying to do something meaningful.
Yeah, it I think often when you have a album like Your Favorite Weapon, and we've seen so many bands of that era
Yeah.
do an album like that. We talked about in our episode of Take Us to Your Grave by Fall Out Boy how like, oh, you could hear Your Favorite Weapon in that, or take any of them with starting line when hey, whoever it is who came out after that, it's like everybody was trying to like make that kind of pop punk record, and then they
Hmm.
kind of stuck to that, or the sound got a little bigger, but like it still was that. This album comes out, and I remember hearing it the first time I was working at Borders and got a copy of it early because you could do that at Borders, and we threw it on while we were closing, and I couldn't focus on my work when it started.
I bet. Yeah.
I was like, what's happening? Um, it's just that first half of this record, that side A, there it's just I don't know. It's these are like the songs I think of when I think of like what emo is, you know?
No, it is. It became like
It defined it for me in a way
yeah,
that no one else had. And I'm not talking about like emotional hardcore emo like Rites of Springs. I'm talking about the emo that of the 2000s.
right. That this is like and this is like you want to learn what emo is, dude. This just listen to this out. Listen to the first half. Just listen to the first two songs. I mean, you could play at any point in this album, and you would get an understanding of what we talk about when we say about the scene.
Yeah.
Writing is better. The writing, it's less about like what I was saying with the pop punk world. It's less about like breaking up with your girlfriend and became more meaningful. Like words had more meaning behind things. We went with a much more poetic, lyrical view of the world. I mean, it talks about. I mean, sure, they still talk about in there about relationships and stuff, but it's not from the same way. And this is the first time you saw growth from the band lyrically and musically.
Well, it's not just about breakups like some of the other pop punk stuff was, like maybe Taking Back Sundays, Tell All Your Friends felt like it was
Right.
more like that's the thing. Like you have to look at it that way. Like Taking Back Sunday comes out, Tell All Your Friends. We all know about the feud.
Oh, wait. Are you talking about the feud that I have on my T-shirt? You can ask me anything about the feud
Let's
between Brand
rise
New.
rise up a little higher
Oh,
so we
hang
can.
on. So the folks at home who can see it, there it is, guys. Enjoy it. Ask me anything about the early 2000s feud. It's a great
Well, we don't
T-shirt.
have to, we don't have to get into the feud right here, but we can talk about, that was kind of the, especially on Long Island, it was like,
Oh,
oh, here's your favorite weapon. Well, I see your favorite weapon, and here's tell your friends,
right.
and you think it's going to come back in that vein, and no, Deja Entendu is like, okay, well, we're gonna go and we're gonna start talking about more about internal our internal minds and like what we're going through and things like that. Um, it's it's a classic.
Actually, you just hit on something that really connects, I think, with the whole emo scene. Where, and I think we talked about this way back when on one of our earlier shows. Is like punk rock was always an external thing,
Hmm.
right? Looking at society and critiquing it, and then emo music, and I think that's really where this album is where it kind of gets that started, is it's the internal view and critiquing yourself,
I like that.
and I've always felt that is a big difference between the two scenes, although hand in hand, but that is the big difference between the two scenes.
I think that's well said. All right. Well, I want to critique you, Phil. So tell me your number two.
Remind you guys, folks at home, Jeff is at your favorite weapon is number five. Daisy is number four. That would be Dejan Tandu at three. I, on the other hand, went Daisy number five, favorite weapon number four, and then Dejan Tandu number three. Um, I'm gonna have to go with it. It was basically I had a hard choice on this one, and ultimately I went with science fiction as number two. I have sci-fi number two. Just it's hard. It's about splitting hairs about these last two albums. It's about splitting hairs. I have sci-fi on number two. With so few albums, Jeff, what did you have at number two?
Science fiction, Phil, is a masterpiece in my mind.
It's a master. It is a
I
masterpiece. I
this
think you got
album
two. Yep.
this album came out 7 years ago at this point, going on eight. Well, 8 years this year. Um, every time I listen to it, and I still listen to it, I find more things to focus on. It is
Right.
to me, this is like if I look at everything and I look at this is where I look at Daisy, I look at Devil and God, I look at Deja, and I'm like, they were all building to this album.
To
What I mean?
sci-fi.
It's
Yeah.
it
Hmm.
really feels like a culmination. Um, the the songs at times are opaque and hard to understand lyrically, but then also I completely understand emotionally at times. It's just it's a complex musicality on this one, is like you mentioned, they change that. Here it's like it's so rich, it's so deep, and there's so much going on. I mean, it opens again with they have these recordings of
The
people,
recordings of things. Yeah.
haunting recordings of people. It sounds like they were at like some kind of like therapist's office or something. It just feels like you
Right.
shouldn't be listening to these tapes. And they
That's
kind
a good.
of
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
they kind of are kind of the glue in between a lot of these songs. Yeah, it's just that last song, Batter Up, like
So batter up. That is a song to endure. I swear to God, that is a fantastic song. So haunting. Just oh,
and if
yep.
yeah, I mean, science fiction to me is, I mean, there's so many different interpretations. I just took it as like this is adulthood. It's like in in your psyche.
Yeah.
Um,
So you have sci-fi number one.
no, sci-fi is number two for me.
Number two. Look at oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. Look at this.
I just wanted
Look
to
at
make sure we talk about how amazing this is. So
I just
that
you know
way,
what's
if there is something above that, can you even imagine how great that album must be? If there was
that album
something
must
else
be
number
that
one,
must be
science
must be
fiction
fantastic.
masterpiece. Number two for both of us. That's crazy.
It is well because it is a masterpiece. It really is, and it's one thing I want to talk about this just real quick. It's in the packaging of the album.
Hmm.
So if you open up the CD or the record, I believe it's even on the record. There is the bar that's from Third Count. Encounters with the Third Kind, right? So the musicality bar. Gonna get really weird here for a second, but I'm gonna go with it because I feel Like the band's weird enough to include this because of this reason. Steven Spielberg made Close Encounters of the Third Kind as an homage to his, I'm going to screw up who's who, but his mom and his dad. One was a scientist, the other one was a musician.
Mhm.
And at the end of that movie, spoiler alert from a movie from 1978 or whatever it is at this point, is that the humans and the aliens connect through music and technology. And that is how they're actually able to make connections. And that is how Spielberg saw that there was a connective tissue between music and technology. And I think that's the total point of the album. It's this connective thing between two things. Perhaps the devil and God could be, or it could be could be, who knows? They all, but there's a connective tissue there that what he's trying to do, trying to make a connection.
Well, I think that comes back to why I feel like it's such an adult album because that's what
Yeah,
adulthood is. You're trying to your beliefs that maybe didn't hold up as you thought they were supposed to be when you learned in childhood. There's
it's great.
definitely like a rejection of religion and which obviously is hit on even harder and what I assume is both our number ones, unless somebody has gone completely out of left field with something that we don't know about. But yeah, no, I think that's great because that science fiction does feel like it's trying to process life. And to call it science fiction is like
It
putting into
like
question everything.
it is because I'm like, well, wait, is this supposed to be? Wait, hold up. I mean, why is we call it? Why are we calling this science fiction? It is an album that leaves you with questions, but good ones, but also satisfied at the conclusion of the album because it's a lot to it's their longest album they have, if I remember right.
Yep.
I mean, it's like over an hour long. Every song is there are no short songs on this. Um, but it is. I think it's once you finish it, there is a feeling of closure, but with the idea that there is something new coming.
Yeah. Good way to
I-
say it.
and it's a great way to end to for if they had put out no more albums. To be perfectly honest, science fiction is an amazing way to go out as the end of a catalog of a band.
Yeah, no, it really does feel that way.
The growth from your favorite weapon to science fiction. It's like I don't think you see that kind of growth in bands like ever. Over a 20-year span to go from that to this. Um, it's just a fantastic musical growth opportunity to watch to listen to the whole way.
Well, it's just the evolution of the artist, you know,
Yeah,
really what you can see that they were all pushing themselves to, because I mean, here's the thing. We talked about it earlier. Daisy is a polarizing record, you
it
know.
is. Daisy's a love. Yeah,
But there are brand new fans who Daisy's their favorite. There are those.
I, I don't know why, but they're entitled to their opinion. No, they
Yeah,
really are.
yeah.
I just if that's how you got it, but you know what? If you're gonna get introduced by Daisy and go back and list, go ahead. That's fine. I'm not gonna poo something you like. If you love Daisy, I'm glad you enjoy it. Enjoy Daisy.
Well, Daisy was a follow-up to an album called The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me from 2006. Where is
The
that on
devil.
your list, Phil?
Well, actually, it didn't make it because I'm going to put the brand new Safety and Numbers EP split from 2000. No, I'm just kidding. That's ridiculous. No, The Devil and God Erasure is my number one album. It's the number one album for me for brand new. I can only assume the same, Jeff, for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it
I,
is.
it's just, I'm going to ask you really, it's just not really stupid, but I'm going to ask you, is there a flaw? Is there anything wrong with this album? Like, honestly,
Yeah, that it ends.
that it ends, right? It
Well, actually, no.
is.
I think my least favorite song is Handcuffs, actually, but which is the last song. But
That's, I kind of like Handcuffs.
I like no. Again, like the
Yeah,
song. I
yeah.
just can you, to go from this track from So He's and Yeah is number one, which is like uh, unlike anything they had done to this point, and it's saying to you, you have no idea what this record is about to give you.
Right.
And that continues into Millstone, and then you get to Jesus Christ, which is just like absolutely a
It's
devastating song.
which it's a devastating song that literally musically goes nowhere. It's the same rhythm the entire, and that was a single, which was even more amazing.
Yeah,
But it's the same rhythm the whole song, and yet I'm like, this song, this is a lot to get through in
it's
5 minutes.
incredible.
It's incredible.
And then it goes into Gausser, which is I think one of my favorites easily. But then my other favorite is Limousine, which comes right after that, which
Oh my
is
God, Limousine's a lot. That is a tough song.
it's a devastating song as well. I mean, this was a song that apparently was based on an actual horrific event that happened on Long Island where,
Right?
if I remember correctly, there was a wedding party in a limousine heading down the parkway. The same time, a drunk driver got onto the parkway the wrong way and crashed into this. And I believe like the flower girl was killed, and it was just a
Yeah,
horrible story, which is which was interesting because the band had heard that story. Obviously, they were from Long Island and turned it into this, which is just
it is. It is
tragic.
a hauntingly beautiful song. It is such like I love how he actually paid homage to Little Girl, but like listening to it, the part where like it, I remember it's one of the only brand new songs where I'm like, I I don't know if I could keep listening to this song. Like when it gets to the part where they talk about like it's my last night to be your mother, I'm just like, okay, all right, time out. I'm gonna need a second. Um, and then it goes on to You Won't Know and Welcome to Bangkok, Not the Sun, Luca. There's Luca's return.
Hmm.
The Archer's Bow had broken. This album never, ever, ever lets up. Maybe by Handcuffs. I'll give you that
No,
one.
well, Handcuffs is the right ending for it because I feel like there is this album, every song is challenging you with lyrics, with what they're trying. Like there is this, I go back to the existentialism of it. It's just this questioning of faith and who you are and who you're supposed to be, and basically what it is, I think, to be a person. I mean, it's just it's so much in it's going in. We talked about Deja went inside. This is going
Right.
even deeper, right? Like this is like we're not this isn't punk we're gonna punch out. We are going to dig even deeper and deeper, and we're gonna scare ourselves what we find in there.
It is um probably taking it not probably. It takes what Deja did and like cranked it to go internal, right? I mean, the literal name of the album is The Devil and God are raging inside of me. Like we're bringing in this concept that was also carried over in science fiction, this duality of things,
Hmm.
where I think that's why Limousine is here on the album is because how can we talk about there being good things in the world, gods in the world, and protect them without talking about there are a lot of terrible things in the world, and I think it's that adulting realization that things could be black and white, but there's going to be some gray, but that you deal with a lot of positive, but a lot of negatives in life, and you kind of have to take them together in tandem, but they are raging inside of him.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's also interesting. Normally you think of like the devil and the God, the devil and the angel on your shoulder, and one is telling you the good thing, one's telling you the
Right,
bad thing. But no, devil and God are both raging inside me. Both
raging.
sides of the coin. Like who is good? Like, in that scenario.
And you even see that with the album cover. Like the album, I remember looking when this cover came out. First up, always hats off to Brand New for their album covers.
I was gonna say we didn't mention it, but like I would say Daisy, even though if you don't like the album, like Phil doesn't like it, but Phil's wrong. There's that
Apparently,
amazing fox in with the
Ye-
forest behind it. It's
right.
it's so evocative. It's a powerful image. You have on Deja and Tanju. I mean,
The
how,
astronaut. I mean,
how many elder emos out there have that tattooed on them? That
at
astronaut,
least one, right?
and many, I'm sure. And then science fiction, is this which connects to back to this album title in a way. Like they're different, but they are similar. I don't know emotions to it. But there's like
It's
these two girls jumping off a balcony to get to a car in
right.
science fiction, like make their escape, basically, I guess. And then this one, which you should look it up if you've never seen it. Which while you're listening to this podcast, if you've never seen the album
I mean,
cover,
or if you
definitely
have,
gotta
please go
beside
listen to
me.
this stuff
But yeah,
afterward.
it's a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
girl against like an outdoor white wall that's been worn, weather worn,
yep.
and she's standing there, and it almost looks like she's listening to, if you go right past the wall on a porch, are two adult males,
Yep.
possibly.
possibly.
in like Halloween costumes with like skull masks, like they look like reapers,
It's very weird, but I love
having a
it.
conversation with each other.
Yes, and it seems very fall-like. I think the tree, if I remember right, it looks like autumny, and it's just
Yep.
it looks like they're having like this kind of conversation, and you got this like innocent little girl in the front, kind of listening to it, is little like, what are they talking like? So you got this child learning about the realities of, we'll get really artsy, the realities of life, and then the conversation between the two ghoul-looking things.
Yeah.
Their
Well,
co their covers are great. They have great covers. They have great covers.
I mean, there's not, it doesn't feel like on their albums, especially once they got into Deja, it really feels like everything is very meticulously figured out.
Really thought through.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Well, Phil, that is, we were pretty close on this one.
We were really close. So I'm gonna go back, folks. Let's go back here. So you Jeff said you going from 5 to 1, it was your favorite weapon, Daisy, Deja Entendre, number 3, Science Fiction, number 2, and the devil and God raging inside me. While I had nearly the same thing, except I swapped your favorite weapon and Daisy from Jeff's 5 to 4, and I flipped them the other way. So really, we had the top three right in line. Folks, remember to write some comments. Make sure if I'm wrong about Daisy, let me know. I'd like to know. If I'm right about Daisy, I also would like to know that. Vindication always feels really good too. So says Dashboard Confessional. But if Jeff and I are way off base on the top three, make sure we hear about it. Let us know.
Well, Phil, I gotta
Yes.
go because I have the devil and Phil raging inside me, and I gotta take some antacid or something.
That sounds good. A nice antacid is really good. It gets a little phlegmy with me in there.
Boy, I know it.